The European Union is in m.o.r.t.a.l. danger of splitting according to a figure integral to the bloc's creation, while experts warn this division created by the crisis threatens to k.i.l.l. the EU. The EU is currently divided over whether to take national or universal action to save the European economy from the devastating effects of the coronavirus. This issue is threatening to drive the bloc apart, as Rosa Balfour, director of Carnegie Europe, a Brussels think tank, warns. She said this week in an interview with The Washington Post, something like a pandemic can only be addressed in a meaningful way through international cooperation. If the balance tips in favor of national positions, that could kill the EU. This chilling claim follows an even more concerning one from 94-year-old former French. He played a pivotal role in the formation of the bloc's modern form, but he says the coronavirus put the European project in m.o.r.t.a.l. danger. He said, the climate of tensions between heads of state and government and the lack of European solidarity pose a mortal danger to the European Union. Natalie Tocci, director of the International Affairs Institute in Italy, echoed the worrying sentiment to The Washington Post. She said coronavirus could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Mrs. Tocci added, the reason why coronavirus is such an epical challenge is not that it brought things out of the blue. It touches on all spheres and does so by accentuating dynamics that are already there. It's as if it is bringing the extreme out of everything. European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde announced a huge bond-buying program last month worth £680 billion, but the move may cause division in the bloc, according to Professor Ian Begg of the London School of Economics. He told Express, in political terms there has been a strong resistance, especially from Germany and some of the other creditor countries inside the Eurozone to this action by the European Central Bank. Furthermore, Professor Begg highlights just how prevalent the lack of trust between nations in the bloc is. He claims there are fears in Germany that their aid in times of crisis has encouraged southern European nations to spend recklessly. He said, some of the fallout may re-emerge because, the expression used by political economists is moral hazard. If you give somebody insurance against a contingency that is misguided, they will be more inclined to do it. If you are insured for driving drunk you are more likely. The Northern Europeans frequently cry moral hazard on proposals to share the risks with Southern Europe. They say, if we are generous to the Italians, Greeks, Portuguese and the Spanish, guess what, they will misbehave. Meanwhile, the other side says we need a bit of risk support, otherwise we can't alleviate those risks. This has been a running argument for years now and could resurface if the coronavirus is restricted to a blip in the system. This is echoed in analysis by François Heisbourg of the International Institute for Strategic Studies. He said that the lifting of borders after the crisis also poses a risk of more arguments. He added, it could create enormous resentment. You're an Italian and you're considered as a plague bearer by the Germans. This is where the real danger for Europe